Did Detail Code really make their Rinseless Wash V2 better? And I am going to do a side-by-side test here on their own platform and see if it really is much better than their version 1.5. So let's get started. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Door Media podcast. I'm your host, Sock from Detailing Made Simple, and today I have something special for you all. So this is going to be my first time doing an actual side-by-side comparison live or on video, and I will be comparing Detail Code's Nemesis V2 Rinseless Wash, and I am, of course, comparing it to their version 1.5. This is their 1.5, not the super sudsy one that was foaming everywhere. This is just their 1.5, and I've used this a bunch. A cleaning monster. I have less than a quarter of a bottle left here. And as far as version 2, I've used this about 2 times already, and it does clean surprisingly well as well, and no issues on the cleaning power. Now, one thing for me was really the slickness on the dry off. This version 1.5 tends to be a little bit grabby, and I'm just going to test that out and see how everything works on that end. Now, the only aspect is that I do have 2 separate buckets. Both have 9 liters of water, which is pretty much 2.5 gallons, and I have 2.5 gallons there. And the only thing that I'm going to do differently, which I can't find my other red rinseless wash sponge, is I will be using the same one. I don't like this McKee's one, although I love the color combo because of my business logo and stuff like that. But this just aerates pretty much any rinseless wash. I've used Pans, I've used Eco Wash, Detail Rinseless V2, I've used Hydra. All these tend to foam up. It's the cell structure of this rinseless wash sponge. So I'm not going to use this. And yeah, because I don't want to say, oh, this thing foams up. No, pretty much any rinseless wash with this sponge, literally it just foams a lot. So I'm just going to be using this one for one section or half of the vehicle or one side, whatever that I'm doing on the video. And then I'm going to wring this out, clean it out with the hose and stuff like that, wring it out, and then put it inside my version 1.1, whatever other version I'm using. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Everything pretty much stays the same. Whoops, almost dropped this. And same thing, using baby goats as the drying towels, one for each one. So yeah, so let's get started with the video. I'm pretty sure you saw all on the overhead here on how dirty the vehicle is. It's been driven a little over a week and has a bunch of dust, dirt, and debris. And yeah, so let's get started. Here are the 2 buckets. So we're gonna start off with Rinseless Wash V1. So I cleaned this out, and shout out to Franco for this nice, I love this Rinseless Wash bucket or dolly thing, this pole. It's just so awesome, easy to use. And what I like too is you could put your drying aid of your choice. So this is DIY Detail Envy. I've used this already on 2 vehicles. The only thing that I am waiting on is probably on the 3rd one, and give my honest review and feedback. And I am washing one of the vehicles as a return customer in the next couple of weeks just to see how it held up. So I will pretty much wait for that. And yeah, so let's get started. So we are going to be using V1. It's pretty much 2.5 gallons of water. And what I'm going to put in here is half an ounce per gallon. So I am going to put 1 and probably a quarter right there. Just like that. Whoops, hopefully you all can see. Just like that. So this is version 1, and you know what? I'm gonna put it in the black bucket instead and put it right up in here. And as you can see, I'm gonna mix this up. It kind of stays clear, right? So that is how you could tell if you have the same say the same old label, how you could tell the difference between each one. So I'm screwing on the V1 but I'm squeezing some of this out, and I'm going to pour this to the side just so we could purge some of the V1 because I don't have another top. And I am going to put the same amount because it's the same amount of water. I'm going to put close to almost 1.5. So, whoops, there it is, 1.5 again, and same thing. I'm gonna pour it right here. And as you can see right away, it turns milky. Did you see that? This is how you know you have version 2 versus version 1.5. So that is what we have here. So yeah. So that is how you can easily tell which version you have. Move the keg sprayer. So this already has detail codes. Version 1 rinseless wash. I filled this up about 2 weeks ago. I used distilled water, and I also have a filtration system here. So everything is the same, DI water for both. And I have a clean IK sprayer right here, empty. So I am going to fill this one up right here about halfway, and this will be for my B2. Now in terms of smell, the smell hasn't changed whatsoever. They both have the same aroma, and yeah, so that's it. Just wanted to say that. Pump this up just so all of you can see that this is the V2 version in the IK. So let's get started. My rinseless wash sponge, and I am going to dunk this inside the V1 version first. That is what we're going to test out, and I am going to spray this half with detail coat. And the reason why I like to use this keg sprayer is because look at the amount of pressure. It's just so much easier, quicker. And I'm just applying rinseless right on the paint and whatever loose debris that I have. That's about it. The vehicle is dirty. It's not extremely dirty, but this is just a perfect candidate to do a rinseless wash on. And yeah, let's get to rinseless washing here. So as you saw, the black bucket is the V1. So I am dunking the red sponge from Iconic, and I am going to just do the rinseless. Now in terms under the sponge, yes, detail code V1 or version 1.5 does feel good under the towel, under the sponge. So no issues there. I am going to grab all of this right here, and I'm going to go all the way down to the rocker panels and show you the cleaning capabilities of this. Now I did do this video with Titan Tim from Shine Your Light, and even he was impressed, and he's not even associated with the House of Rags. So you can see that dirt and grime. I just dunk it just like such, flip it over, release out of the excess, and it is perfectly clean. So yeah, it feels really good under the sponge. As I said, I'm going to come on this panel, get a close-up, just so all of you can see, and that is it. Now my panel does feel slick. I do have a coating on the vehicle, so that is the other thing as well. And let me just do the arc, and I am done. Do this side. I am just going to dry and give y'all my verdict so all of you can see the drying process. So no drying aid, no nothing, just a Rinseless wash. The Rinseless wash is its own drying aid, and it feels good. Is it super slick? No, it is not super slick. But that is the one thing about Nemesis, was just to wipe off if you're using it as a standalone, because it is has a heavy amount of surfactant, and it wasn't as slick for the dry off. And this is just a baby goat. I'm just using one. I'm not, flipping over and, using a second towel. No, this is all with the baby goat. And I am doing no pressure, just guiding the towel. And yo, this thing dries. I dried half the vehicle. Look, I did a Rinseless wash on half the vehicle already. No streaks on glass. And that was all just with the baby goat. Dried up everything. All I gotta do is just dry up the door handles. Do that as a finale. But baby goat did this whole half, and I could still do, say, probably, I'm pretty sure I could do the whole vehicle with this. So yeah, in terms of drying, does feel a little bit grabby, and that is just the nature of V1. So let me rinse off this Rinseless wash sponge, and I'll see you in a little bit. Everyone, so this is the V2 side, and as I said, Franco, this thing is awesome. Love this stand, which makes everything so much easier. And here I am spraying the V2 Rinseless from Detail Co. And it will take a little bit longer just because, again, I don't have the same pressure as I do on that keg sprayer, but it's still pulling off the dirt, grime, and a little bit of sand that's on here. So no issues with that whatsoever. And just having a coated vehicle really makes a huge difference. So let me just keep spraying right here. Flood the panel. And there we go. So there is the V2 put on there. Gonna squeeze some of this out, and let me see if, wow. All right, so this isn't a placebo type of thing. This truly feels really slick. And this is the thing, is I did not use it side by side like I did just now doing a comparison. I was like, oh wow, this does feel slick, but I remember version 1.5 felt extremely slick, really slick. It felt good, but this is just light years above the slickness. Just light years. Wow. Just a huge difference. Like everything is just gliding, just effortlessly. Now let's see the cleaning power. Now I have some dirt here, and I don't recommend this. I am just doing this because it's my own vehicle, and I want to see the cleaning power and grab as much of that dirt and grime as possible. And I'll bring all of you in. So that is the dirt, grit, and grime. Just gonna toss it right there and flip this over. Got this little speck right here. Didn't go to the grit guard, and it is nice and clean. So extremely slick. No issues on that. Like, wow. This is a night and day difference. Now, what did Detail Co do? They said they added more polymers on there to make it slicker. In terms of cleaning power, as you can see, it cleans the sponge just nice. I already cleaned all the way down here, so don't worry about that. And flip my sponge over and come back around. So that is it for that. I just got to get the top part right up here. And that's it with this. So what I'm going to do now is dry with the baby goat. Now this is the other baby goats over there, you can tell it's slightly wet next to the empty. And I am going to use this baby goat. Now, moment of truth on the slickness, and yeah, just there's no contest. But it's super slick under the sponge, like extremely slick, and just super slick on dry off. Like, this is why I'm pretty sure makes perfect sense on why they didn't call the other version V2, because there was nothing in terms of making the drying easier, making it slicker. All they did was just remove the foam. But here is just, wow. Like, it feels much slicker than the V1 side. And this is what I recommend people to do, right? Is do your own testing if you can, if you're able to, and just see if the changes are for the better. I mean, for this, night and day difference on the Detail Co. Rinseless. It's night and day. I'm not using any drying aid, nothing. For this Rinseless, you don't need a drying aid. For the Detail Co. version 1, as you saw in my videos, I will use a drying aid pretty much all the time. And that is just because it was still slightly grabby. It's still with the towel, but now you don't need it. You truly don't need it. And that's the same amount of time in terms of cleaning your car. That's it. Let me just bring you all to the back glass, and I'm just gonna use version 2. Just because we all know how great version 1 was in terms of cleaning power and leaving 0 streaks on glass. But here what I'm gonna do is just spray some Rinseless right up here. Pump some of this up. I'm just gonna clean the whole backside. This is still the baby goat, that I did on this passenger half. I'll put this right up here. Let that Rinseless swell. Bring my cart over with me. And here we go. So cleaning all of this stuff up right here. Nice and simple. Flip this over. The amount of dirt that was back there, I'm just gonna dunk this, and perfectly clean. Again. Wow, this is just really, really slick. Yeah. When I first had the bottle, I even texted Jamie. I was like, yo, I think I was bamboozled. I got version 1 still. It's still the old bottle. And then they told me, no, it's not. If you don't get the milky substance, or, if you got the milky look into your bucket when you apply it, then it is. And I was like, okay, yeah, it is. And it's slick. But doing this side by side is just a confirmation on how slick it is. So I have the glass all applied with Rinseless, and time to dry. So same thing, grab your baby goat, super slick. Dry off is super fine. Just gonna show you 0 streaks. Look at that, just flashed off nicely. Let me just grab the edges. Same baby goat towel as the passenger side. And this thing is just a monster at drying. It's nothing better. Nothing better for a small towel. Put y'all right back here. This is where I did this half as well. And this is a huge upgrade for sure. Got nothing bad to say about this, so yeah. So hopefully you all enjoyed this week's podcast, and the purpose of this podcast was to do my first side-by-side with all of you and showcase it on Thor's channel and give you all my verdict. And just a huge difference. Now, I try to remove every single variable as possible, except with the exception of the rinseless wash sponge. That's why I started it with the version 1 first. The only reason why I did that is because I already know how version 1 works. Yes, it's slick under the sponge, but when it comes to as a drying aid alone, when you're ready to grab a towel, it feels a bit draggy. It's not really slick, and that's why I always used to use, say Tim's High Gloss Detailer or Lightning from Detail Co, or any type of drying aid of your choice, right? That's what I was using at the time. And yeah, so man, V2 really did come out to play. Now, one thing to note is that if you have version 1, get yourself version 2 and do a side-by-side test, because version 2 blows version 1 out of the water 110% in terms of slickness, the way it clings onto the panel, the way it dries with the towel. Like, the slickness under the sponge is just absolutely insane. And then when you're drying it with just a towel alone and using itself as a standalone drying aid, it is phenomenal. Now, one thing, what did Detail Co add to it is pretty much they said that they added more polymers onto it to help with more slickness. Now, when you add more polymers to something, it may have a little bit of polymer protection. Now, it'll probably only last a couple of days or so. It's not anything significant. So you drive it for a couple of days. Once it gets dirty, that polymer protection is gone. So it's not going to hinder any type of ceramic coating performance or anything of that nature. So the polymers will probably stay there for like 1 or 2 days and then pretty much be gone. So yeah, overall, my thoughts on this is, first time doing a side-by-side comparison with you guys, and doing this was just absolutely fun to do. I apologize if it was long, but it was worth it. And as I said, if you have version 1, grab yourself version 2, do the side-by-side, and let me know all what you think. So if you like this type of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all on next week's podcast. Peace.